doubt there are many UU congregations who haven't felt some financial pain from this recession. And you probably think that a fellowship in a town whose name has become synonymous with high unemployment would never be able to pull off a building campaign. But happily, you'd be wrong.
Elkhart, Indiana is a town of about 50,000. It's often referred to as the RV capital of the world. When those factories and many others took a terrible hit in the recession, Elkhart became a national symbol of economic hardship. It didn't seem like the place or the time for a UU congregation to launch a building campaign, but that's exactly what the UU Fellowship of Elkhart wanted to do.
We were getting too crowded in our Sunday services, and then we were having to have our coffee hour right afterwards in the sanctuary and moving furniture and things all the time.
We were bursting at the seams, and we knew that some people would come, not find a place to sit, not find a place to park, and not come back.
And in this conservative area, including Mennonite country, that was the last thing the UUs wanted.
It is a very deeply conservative area, and it's a very religious area, and a lot of churches around Elkhart. I mean, that's something that people will say to me, gosh, there's a church on every street corner, and there are, but not too many liberal choices, and I think we're an important voice in this area.
And the importance of being a liberal voice was what moved people. Luckily for the fellowship, it first moved Linda Arbogast to push for a generous seed grant.
My husband had recently died, and I'm on the board of the Arbogast Foundation. I said, do you realize this is the only liberal religious voice in our community? We lose our church, we lose the freedom to think religiously in Elkhart.
So the Arbogast Foundation offered $50,000 if the congregation could raise the rest, which turned out to be $125,000. Now, this is a church with about 120 members. Some are working and grateful for it. But Reverend Amy says many are either retired or underemployed or out of work, and many headed back to school for retraining. But the congregation rallied.
There was a moment in one of our Sunday morning worship services where one of our folks who was 70 and a half years old stood up and for morning musing talked about how once you reach 70 and a half, you're allowed to tap into your retirement fund at no penalty as long as you give it to a not-for-profit. And so she stood up there and led the charge for all of these retired people to give more money.
One family gave up cable TV for a year and pledged that amount. Several families asked to stretch out their pledges from 3 to 5 years. A retired member took a part-time job to fund a pledge, and it all added up.
We needed to raise 125. We raised 130.
We're very, very excited, and we really see this new space that we're adding as having lots of possibilities, a gathering place, a place for concerts, a place for art exhibits, possibly children's classrooms, RE classrooms in the future on the lower level, which we're not finishing at this point, but we hope to finish in the future.
I envision a lot of things for our fellowship to be not only more special to us and more functional to our growing congregation, but also for us to be able to have better and more activities where we welcome in the wider community.
Oh, it's hard not to start crying because I'm 71 years old now, and I know this church will always be here. We just keep, every 20 years, we find a way to make a bigger impact in our community, and that's what we're doing here. And there'll be a place for all the people after me.
And that's one of the goals of being a religion for our time. Having a clear vision of being a strong liberal religious voice in the community where all members do whatever it takes to make that happen.
And I'm so proud of this congregation.